Okay, for this tutorial in Chapter 7, I want to clarify a couple of small things for you. The directions on how to create the slot center to center is a little confusing from the textbook. So I'm going to walk you through this uh, just real briefly here to show you. So I'm picking up here on page uh, Chapter 7, page 51, and I've got my planes open. So I'm going to go with a new sketch, and we're supposed to put it here on the XZ plane. And I'm going to flip back up to this orientation so it looks like the textbook. Excuse me. And we're going the slot center to center. So you hit the pull down on your rectangle there, and we're going slot center to center. Okay. And it tells you what you're going to do is you're going to draw the center line of the slot, and we want it to come up with this horizontal constraint. And then I left click once, and then I drag out to get my radius or my diameter of the slot, and then I click again. That was step 1 and step 2. Okay, step 3 is we're going to add the circles to the middle. So I go back to the circle command, and I come right here to the end of that construction line, and I place a circle at both ends that are concentric to each other, to the slot, I'm sorry. Okay, and that was step number 3. Okay, and so I'm not real sure where the step 4 on trimming the rectangle comes in at. It looks like they might have had a little copy paste error in editing the textbook. Okay, but that's how you would create the base for this object here. Okay, uh, now then, the next page on page 53, after you've placed your dimensions on your object, it tells you to go to the parameters. Now what I've got turned on here is I'm showing you the expression for my dimensions. Okay, so if I go to parameters, the order in which they're going to display here, the dimension 0, 1, 2, 3, like that, that is the order in which you actually place the dimensions when you're creating the object. It's probably not going to look exactly like it shows it in the textbook, but what you're looking for are the two equation type dimensions. The dimension which I have is dimension 0. In the textbook, it's actually dimension 3. Okay, but it's some dimension divided by 2 units, and that's this right here. The distance from the center of the slot to the center of the hole is half of the dimension from hole to hole. Okay, that's the equation for it. And then um, in the textbook, dimension 5 equals dimension 1. Well, that's the 2 holes. In my case here, I've got dimension 5 equals dimension 4. Okay, here's dimension 4, here's dimension 5. Okay, so the order in which these things show up will probably be different from the textbook. Don't freak out about that. Don't worry about that. As long as you've got everything dimensioned correctly, and when you extrude the part, it will be done. Okay, now then, this particular object, it's important that you rename uh, here in your history browser, and you're going to be placing 2 different cuts. Okay, one's a rectangle, one's a circle. When you turn it in, it's not really going to matter to me uh, if it's turned on, turned off, because I'm going to look over here in your browser and I'm going to see what's going on with it. Okay. But for a future assignment, when we actually do the drawing, you're going to turn off that rectangular cut. Okay. Uh, and I believe that was everything. There is, you'll be making this part and then you're going to be changing some of the things to it and then creating a drawing. And when you turn it in, here's where we're going to have a change in the way we turn things in is now you'll be doing what we call a pack and go and submitting both the drawing and the part file. And I'll have a separate video on how to do that.